All right, let's dive into a real television ghost story. Seriously, we're going on a hunt for a show that has, for all intents and purposes, completely vanished off the face of the earth. Get ready for an explainer on TV's lost classic, Highway to the Stars. So, think about this for a second. What actually happens when a TV show completely disappears? I don't just mean it gets canceled or you can't find it on streaming. I mean it is gone, wiped from existence. It's a wild question, and it takes us right back to the very beginning of television.
Now, to really get this, we have to talk about something called lost media. This is the term for any creative work, movies, TV shows, music, that people believe no longer exists. In any format, not hiding in a studio vault, not in some collector's basement. They're basically ghosts in the machine.
And the specific ghost we're chasing today is a show called Highway to the Stars. It first aired all the way back in 1947. This was one of the very first stabs at making a serialized drama for TV, what we'd totally just call a soap opera today. So, how much of this show can we actually watch today? The answer is pretty shocking. Zero. Zilch. Not a single frame. Not one little snippet of audio is known to have survived. It is 100% lost media. So where did it go? Well, part of the story is where it aired. It was on the Dumont television network. And if you're thinking the Whomont network, you're not alone. It was the forgotten fourth network that tried to compete with ABC, CBS, and NBC in the early days, but it eventually folded in the 50s. So what was this phantom show even about? Well, one of our only real clues comes from a 1947 issue of Billboard magazine. They described the plot as, and I love this, the travails of a cornbread gal warbler trying to make good in the big town. You can't make this stuff up. Okay, let's break down what we do know. It starred an actress named Patricia Jones, and she played that small-town singer trying to make it in the big city. The episodes were a full 30 minutes long, which was actually super ambitious for an early soap, and it was all penned by a writer named Bob Walt. This is pretty much the only snapshot we have. And what about the star, Patricia Jones? Did she vanish too? Well, thankfully, her story has a happier ending. After Highway to the Stars disappeared, she did find more work, landing a role on an NBC series called Martin Kane Private Eye in 1951. So while her first big shot vanished, her career didn't. So let's talk about how long this show was actually around. And it was short. Like, incredibly short. This timeline says it all. It premiered on Dumont's New York station in August of 47. By October of that same year, it was canceled, and its exit was, well, pretty harsh. It was just suddenly yanked and replaced in its time slot with a variety show, ironically called Look Upon a Star. So, out with the risky new drama, in with something cheaper and probably way easier to produce. So why? Why did it just completely disappear? Well, it was kind of a perfect storm of problems. First, it was on the Dumont network, which was already struggling for cash. Second, the tech to even record live TV, these things called kinescopes, was brand new and really expensive, so networks almost never used it, especially for a local show. In the end, they just didn't see any value in saving what they thought was a failed experiment. But here is why this ghost story is so important for anyone who loves TV history. Highway to the Stars is this forgotten contender for a huge television milestone, being the very first American TV soap opera. See, if you look it up, the history books will usually tell you a show called Faraway Hill, which also aired on Dumont a year earlier in 46, was the first soap. And while that's technically true, Highway to the Stars came right after, but it gets almost zero credit. Its very existence messes with that clean, simple story of how TV evolved. When you put it all together, the show is a perfect symbol of the Wild West days of early television. It was a bold, creative risk that didn't pay off on a network that also didn't survive. It's a true phantom of broadcasting history, and a reminder that for every success, there were tons of failures we've never even heard of. Which, of course, brings us to a much bigger, kind of haunting question. If an entire TV series can just be erased from history like this, how many other stories from those first few years of television are just lost forever? If you had fun digging up this piece of lost history with me, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I really want to know your thoughts, so drop them in the comments below. Thanks for watching.